Hello, what is up? This is episode 88 of The Future Monkeys. I am your host, and I am here with Beardy.
I'm not going to try to do that accent. It's not happening.
What accent are you talking about?
I'm not sure if I can say in polite company.
Is my Dracula not coming through? No.
No.
It's not working?
But I do sense something else in the room. A spirit. A traveler of time, space.
I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to creep you out.
Okay, I'm thinking if, we're obviously holding a Ouija board here. I'm getting a dead Rojas? Is there a dead Rojas in the room?
You gotta warn a brother before you do an accent like that without telling me. What is up, guys? Yes, I'm here in the afterlife, floating around. Woo.
I couldn't help it just came out.
It was fantastic.
We were Hotel Transylvania. It's a good one around here. So
we just watched Beetlejuice tonight, so it's oddly topical as well. So
yes, I want to talk movies. We'll talk movies later, Halloween movies. Cool. But for the show, it's going to be a Halloween show. I don't know if you've could tell from everything so far. We're going to be talking some spooky games and some spooky stuff. I don't know how spooky. Maybe you like things a little more spookier than we could offer, but it's spooky to us, so whatever. And we're not going to do regular show stuff. Regular. I mean, we're going to be doing community, all that junk, all that stuff, but Halloween themed all the way through. So let's jump through. No, there's so much news. We're not going to touch it because none of it's Halloween. Damn it. And so let's jump right into to the community stuff and see what is going on over there. We threw out I forgot what the question was. And
I got it right here.
No, it's not there. No, because I saw you just copy and pasted everything, and I'm like, oh, let me clean this up for him. And now I just realized, he put it there so he could have it to read. That's right.
Yeah, I have Discord open too. Like this is a thing I do. I know my Los likes to keep a tidy house and is gonna try to delete my stuff. I got backups. So, the question is, Fortnite time. Halloween is coming quick, so we're cutting our fortnight in half and having our Halloweiner Spooktacular next week, which is today on the 18th. The Quandary. Tell us about your Halloween gaming experiences. Is there a game you have to play every year? Favorite spooky game / level? Let's talk Halloween games. Heck, tell us your fave Halloween movie or tradition or whatever. Halloween it up. And so we have some answers.
We also have some voicemails.
Let's go to the voicemails first.
Yeah, I just checked.
That's how we do.
See, you got to remember these things. Like I remember last second. We almost forgot them. All right, so first voicemail. Let's see what's going on.
Hello, monkeys to the life. It's your dear friend, Joe State. Just saw the old quandary of the fortnight go up, and I was like, I could respond to that. I'm just sitting here at the office, just expanded our office, answered all the customer care questions, and don't want to get started on anything else, so this seems like the perfect time. You feel me? Halloween traditions. Can't say that I really have any other than taking the kids out and doing trick-or-treating. I used to watch horror movies on Halloween, and my wife doesn't like horror movies anymore, or ever. She doesn't like them. And so that kind of takes things out, It makes it so it's not as easy to get a horror movie in unless I just don't want to hang out with my wife. But, yeah. That's about that. This is the other part. you asked about Halloween video game character costumes. I went as Sub-Zero one year, homemade of course, because, you know, that ninja's badass, and Mortal Kombat was all the rage when I was a youngster. And, yeah, my stepson went as Mario a year or two ago. So let's keep it strong in the fam. Anyway, thank you for having a cool show. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you, Joe State. Sucks that the quality sounded a little off.
I mean, he's just going with tonight's theme, and his phone is haunted.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, sorry guys, I might be fumbling with the voicemail system a little bit here. Sorry, it's very rare that I'm disembodied, so I'm just kind of making the most of it.
Fred Rojas, damn you!
What happens if I do this?
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not often that you get to interfere with the spirit world, so you're going to poke around a bit.
Yep.
It's understandable.
Hoo-wah.
I gotta say I'm very, very much like his wife. I'm not in the horror movie kind of person. I don't know. I used to be, but not anymore. So
I feel like there's a hidden Los that just wants to wander through like really scary shit your pants haunted houses, and he just won't let that inner demon out.
No lie. I actually do find all that stuff intriguing. Like I like, you know, haunted houses and like actual haunted stuff, you know, like all the stories and things like that. I get into all that. And
Gentlemen,
I'm the type to do
remind
a
me
ghost tour
later
and everything.
to tell you about the time I worked at a haunted house.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are we
Please.
talking real haunted house, or are we talking like a, you know, fun, you know, buy a ticket, come inside and get scared?
I mean, why can't it be both?
Okay.
It was the fun buy a ticket, come in haunted house, and it's a good one. It's a good one. So
Sweet.
all right. So next voicemail.
Hold on, my window was closed.
Sorry, that's classic. If I'm gonna die, you can tell it to me in that accent.
Mr. Rojas, I'm sorry. Okay.
You have 4 months to live.
But hey, it's summer. Go out, have a barbecue. Enjoy the pool. All right. Voicemail number 2.
Hey, you're the future monkeys. You keep on monkeying. What's up, gentlemen? Yes, sir. Fred French in the house. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hello, guys. Sorry about the over-exaggerated intro there. I'm kind of excited. Yes, brought up Halloween, and it's getting to be that time with Halloween, and Fred likes Halloween, so I'm a little excited. But calming it down, boys. I'm calming it down. Okay, here we go. Great show last week, Ben. Great show as always. I don't know how you guys knock it out of the park every show, but you managed to do it. Big hats off and salute to you guys. Thank you very much for your time and effort into your shows. Appreciate it, guys. Talking about Halloween, guys, there's a game I play every Halloween. It's called Until Dawn. I really like playing that on Halloween. It's so great. You know, Halloween comes, you sit down, you fire up the system, you put the game in, start the game up, you're getting into it, and ding dong. What? The doorbell? Oh, who's ringing my doorbell 6 at night? I mean, what was it, dark out? What's ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Okay, pause the game. Let's go see who's at the door. Open the door. And there's like this whole massive flow of little kids dressed up in all different ways, shapes, and forms. Trick or treat, trick or treat. Kids, I'm trying to play a game. You know, it's Halloween. I'm trying to play a game. What are you doing ringing my... We want candy. We want candy. How in the world did these kids know that my wife went out and bought me a big bowl of candy to enjoy while I'm playing my game on Halloween night? How does it work, you know? Hey, Fred French has a big bowl of candy. We should go ask him, see if they'll share with us. It's hard to play a game on Halloween with these kids coming by trying to get in on my candy. You know what I mean? Anyway, before someone gets mad, I'm just kidding. I'm more than happy to hand out candy to the little kids. Halloween is definitely a great holiday for the little ones, and I think it's great to hand out candy and let them enjoy themselves, see all the smiles on their face. But let me give you guys a tip this year. Buy some packets of mustard. Tell the little ones, hey, you're out marching all around town, working up this big appetite when you go home. Tell your parents to cook you up some hot dogs and you can put this mustard on it. Have a nice little snack before you retire for the night. The kids will love you for it, guys. They will love you for it. And about jumping with games, I got to say, when I played that first Resident Evil, I was walking down that hallway and that dog came through the window. I threw the controller up and I came down and smacked me on the head. I was so scared. Terrifying, terrifying moment. Now a question for you guys, Halloween related. What is your best candy you could possibly get? And what is the worst? Like, why did I even bother going to that guy's house when all he could do is give me this?
All right, wait. It looks like he's got a second one here, and it's a little shorter, so let's get that.
Gee, guys, I didn't know I went that long. I apologize. I got cut off, so I'm going to keep this short and quick. Hopefully this all worked out all right. So my best candy would be Hershey's. Anything Hershey's, Hershey bar, Kit Kat, Crackle, all that good stuff. I'd have to say my worst is that cheap bubble gum. I don't even know what it's called. It's like wrapped in paper. You unwrap it. It looks like there's like flour on it, You chew it for like 10 seconds and the flavor's gone. And next thing you know, you're just chewing this wad of old, stale gum. Something I really like. Jeez, guys, I never talked so long. I got cut off. I'm embarrassed. I gotta cut it down, guys. I'm wasting too much of your time. Jeez. Anyway, that's about all there is. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Ghosts and Goblins, Monster Mash, and all that other good stuff. Be good, guys. Arrivederci.
So good. Never wasting our time, Mr. French. Never wasting our time. You give us content, so you're making our time. In terms of candy, the best is Three Musketeers. You get yourself 3 Musketeers, you're going to have yourself a good day. It's not the Snickers. You don't need the peanuts. You need the 3 Musketeers with the nougat, and it's light, so you can like 50 of them, and it's still okay. The worst that I remember just being so mad at when I was a kid is either the religious cards, like a prayer card, or pencils, or like pencil erasers. Like, oh, it's a spooky ghost. I'm like, I get the spooky ghost. You're trying and you don't want to give candy. It's fine. But the prayer card, you're just wasting my time. This is not the holiday for you.
No, that's the next day for Dia de los Muertos, but today is Devil's Night.
Yes. Or because I'm Catholic, the All Hallows Eve. Like, you had to go to church on Halloween, but then that night, you get to go do it up good. And you get candy out of it. And in the recent years, I have actually adopted the standard or practice, whatever you call it. I am the full-size candy bar house.
Nice.
Because Mr. French has mentioned the joy of seeing the kids with the candy. You want to see some joy on the kids' faces? You give them a full-size candy bar. Because I remember like going trick-or-treating, and the houses that would give you the full candy bar, which you don't need. Mm-hmm. And it really doesn't impact your sugar intake one way or another because you have so much other stuff to have. But when you get there, like, oh, what? A full-size candy? Are you kidding? I remember like running away screaming in joy. And to be able to do that now is freaking awesome. I love it so much. And plus, you get enough. There's usually not enough for the kids. And you get yourself a couple weeks of, I'm going to have myself some Three Musketeers every couple days, and all is right in the world. It's like, honey, we can't have all these Three Musketeers in the house. I must clearly have one every day until they're gone. The other thing I would recommend, I don't know if you guys had a house like this, there was one house that they didn't give away the full size. They gave away a can of pop. A can of pop. In the mix of all the sugar is like sugar on top of sugar.
Yeah, that's like giving out cocaine at a methadone clinic. Like, it's not a good idea.
That's like
awesome.
that's a big middle finger to the parents.
Candy with a can of pop. It was so great. And same thing, like you'd walk up to that house and you see kids run away. I got Sunkist orange soda, which is like the most sugar you could ever have.
And every parent just watches their night melt away.
Oh my god. That I don't know.
What about you guys?
I'd have to look at that guy. Like, seriously, you're doing this?
Oh well, I do something kind of shitty too. But real quick, I'll weave it into my conversation. My high is Heath Bar. I know I'm weird. Heath Bar
Outside,
used to be whatchamacallit, but in my older age, I'm slowly working my way into senior citizenhood, and I like the Heath Bar more. And then probably my worst would be those. They don't even really give them out anymore, but those orange chewy peanuts. They don't taste like peanuts, but do you remember those things? They were
the circus
peanuts, foamy peanuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love me a circus peanut, but if someone gave me that for Halloween.
Unwrapped, right? This was back in the time where it was like, razor blade apples, like the 80s.
There was someone in your neighborhood who would give unwrapped circus peanuts?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. She would just have a big basket of them, and she would put her dirty ass, it wasn't sanitized maw in there, and just drop one, sometimes two, right in your pillowcase or bag or whatever you were using. I use pillowcases because they hold more haul. Fun fact, kids, use pillowcases. But the one thing I did to kind of mess with the parents is, and Los and Beardy, you guys both probably have seen this, and you might even be one of them. But there's the parents that walk around, but they don't go up to the door. And you got like 16 parents all congregating at the front of your driveway, but no one will be bothered to like walk up with the kids, which I don't necessarily think they need it. But so what I did to mess with them was I had on the TV, I had like Disney's Halloween Treat, which is an old VHS that when it breaks, I'm going to cry. But it's this great collection of like just mini shorts from Disney. And I would keep it muted. And then I had a digital recorder that was just 50 minutes of a woman screaming and a chainsaw revving.
Oh, man.
And what I would do is whenever I would answer the door, I'd keep it off. But then when I would open the door, if I saw a bunch of parents congregating down there and all the kids up front, I would turn it on. And I would usually have the kids kind of lean in and they'd see the Disney movie and they'd say, oh, what cool. What's that? I was like, oh, kids, yeah, you want to see it? Come on in. Check it out. And like as a couple of kids I'd leave the door open so they didn't think I was kidnapping the kids. But you would see at least one mom like hearing the chainsaw and the screaming and seeing all the kids looking in at my TV. And they were like, they'd come up the stairs. I don't know if you can get away with that anymore, but a couple years back, it was totally like a good time. No one got the joke like I did though. And my wife was not home. If she hadn't been working, she would have never allowed that shit to go on. But it was a good time. It was a good time.
Oh, that's so good. Because then they see it and they're like, oh wait, did I hear was that coming from that house? Is there an echo in the neighborhood?
Oh, no, it's loud. It's very clear what's going on. And there is nothing that sounds like a revving chainsaw but a revving chainsaw. But one other real quick thing. The Tom Morello, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, his mom was in Libertyville, Illinois. She was where I used to go trick-or-treating. And she would give out Rage Against the Machine swag and CDs on Halloween.
Man,
she was an amazing mom because Tommy would send her a bunch of stuff. So she would only hand it out on Halloween. It was amazing.
That's
amazing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was great to be a Libertyville kid in the 90s. I'll tell you what. But anyway, how about you, Los?
My favorite's got to be Snickers. Like, I don't know. It's perfect for me. Like, I love everything in there, and I'm a huge, like, I don't know. Like, I have this weird thing whenever I open a Snickers, I gotta smell it. Cause it just, like, and the wife catches me sometimes. It's just weird. Like, you ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond? The brother like taps stuff to his chin before he eats it or something like that.
Yeah, that's you smelling the Snickers.
Yeah, that's me smelling the Snickers. That's exactly what I do. And
it's kind of in your approach to how you smell it. Like, depending on how exaggerated, that can go either way.
Yeah.
But okay.
I just picture like a fine cigar, like he
yeah.
takes it across his nose and just kind of really drags it in, like,
I can get behind that. I'm talking about the guy who does the weird curled upper lip to the nostril kind of smell.
Oh no.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
No, I'm very, very fine wine. You know, let me test this out before I taste it. You know, but yeah, there's Snickers, and then there's Twix, just like, you know, regular old Twix, and you know, it's just like the regular stuff, like nothing crazy, just the old fashioned, you know, OG candy bars. For what I hate, what I don't like, candy corn is up there. I don't like candy corn. The wife loves it, and she buys it, and she's so happy because she knows when she buys it, like, it's hers. Nobody else is going to be eating it. So yeah, every year she gets it. I'm like, okay, let me try one. Maybe it changed. And no, never changes. Just freaking some flavored chalk in my mouth. I can't. It's the texture. I don't get it. And Smarties. I used to really love Smarties, but I like a few years ago, we did Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and they were giving out crap load of candy. So I was like, you know, digging in my pocket. I had a few things in my pocket, like just to snack on or whatever. And it was Smarties. So I had it in my mouth, and I bit down, and you know, when you bite down on it, it turns into powder.
Mm-hmm.
So the powder decided to just like go right back to my thing back there, my uvula.
My uvula. No, that's a bad director of video game movies. Don't worry about uvula.
My vulva was the thing.
Nope, that's something different as well.
colder.
Double back. No,
the punching bag, you know, the thing back there. So like I started choking, and I didn't have no water. So I was like trying not to have a throwing up fit because I'm choking so much in the middle of all these kids. And I'm biting down like so hard on my teeth, clenching my teeth, and the Smarties between my teeth, and like a few seconds passes, and like I just feel this sharp pain in my teeth. It's like the Smarties went through my tooth and into my root. And like, I was just done. I was like, no more of these.
Yeah, congratulations. I don't want Smarties ever again. But on a side note, you know, Mickey's rolling pretty thick these days. You think Homeboy could spring for a little more than some Smarties at his gathering? Like, I'm a little ashamed of that. He should be full candy bar.
Yep, king size. He should. They do good. They do good. I don't know if Beardy, like, you came down here a lot. Did you ever do Halloween down here? The
No,
parks?
but actually, my folks have, and it's funny. Like, my folks went when we were all full adults. Like, me and my sister were adults, and my folks went on their own to the Halloween stuff, and all the pictures they took and everything. That is like on me and my wife's bucket list. Like, we have to do that, and we have to do the Christmas time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
it's the Halloween. They do really, really good. I mean, it's basically your trick or treating in the Magic Kingdom. So, you know, your kid goes all dressed up and with the treat bag, and you go from, like, you know, different designated spots, and they just have like literal barrels full of candy that they just like take by the handful. So you're walking out of there with like 3 or 4 pillowcases full of candy, and it's insane. So yeah, the Smarties, candy corn, and Mary Jane's. I don't like Mary Jane's. I can't. I don't know.
What, like weed?
Not that Mary Jane.
Parents give you weed.
You were in some really cool neighborhoods.
Well,
No,
I grew up in the Bronx, so that's not very far from the truth. The stuff you got from there. But
holy cow, I've never seen this candy before. Mary Jane's, huh?
you never heard of Mary Jane's?
No.
Oh man, it's very disgusting. Don't.
Suddenly I want one. Thanks a lot.
Not bad.
I think
I get why someone wouldn't like them, but I do enjoy a good Mary Jane candy.
Yeah.
And someone's going to take the audio clip and send it back. It's like, oh, Verity's running for Congress. I do enjoy a good Mary Jane.
All right. So,
all right. Any more voicemails?
No, that was it for the voicemails. Very thankful. Thank you, Fred, very much. And the mustard packets, I swear. He was talking
Brilliant.
And I made a note. I was like, I'm going to say this so I don't forget. And it was going to be exactly that Fred French gives out mustard packets during Halloween.
It's a good idea.
Yep. All right. So going on to the Discord answers.
So Voss says, as a kid, I dressed up as video game characters. Come on, Voss. As a kid, I dressed up as video game characters. I know it was 4th grade that I dressed up as Zell from Final Fantasy 5, 6, 7, 8, because I remember the teacher telling me to try and wash off the makeup the day after. But of course, I thought it was a total badass and just pretended to wash it off. I'm not sure what year it was, but it was the only year I went trick-or-treating ever. Every other year, I was a dumb trick or treat at the Mormon church.
Trunk or treat.
Wow. It says trunk or treat. Yeah, is trunk or treat. Is that a Mormon thing or is that a typo?
No, that's a thing, man.
Yeah.
You don't know trunk or treat?
No. Okay, so that's the thing. So
your daughter's just not old enough yet.
Yeah, my kids' preschool is doing that.
Yeah, so is my daughter's kindergarten's doing it.
Oh, okay. So we'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
A trunk or treat at the Mormon church. Blech. Anyway, long story short, my stepmom at the time took her kids and me out where I was dramatic pause Squirtle. We got about 3 hours in before 3 houses in before it started raining and my blue started running everywhere. Crying emoji. Holy shnikes, Voss. There is so much to unpack in here. There is a trunk worth of stuff.
First of all, Squirtle, the most vulgar Pokemon, so congrats, Voss.
Yeah, I think we need like a whole episode devoted to Voss and Halloween. I mean, from trunk or treating at a Mormon church, it parlaying into the only time he went trick-or-treating, he was dressed as Squirtle, happy, Pokemon. It starts raining. That is tragic.
Is it rain or is it tears? Who cares? It's all washing away.
Poor Voss.
Sad.
I feel like we gotta take Voss trick-or-treating now.
Boatload of candy just to make up for that.
Yeah, all things considered, I hope it was a slight disaster, but ultimately a fun night.
Yeah. Good grief, Charlie Brown.
The trunk or treat, by the way, Beardy, since you sounded so confused.
Yeah.
It was this is the first time we're doing it too for the kids' preschool. So basically it's just a bunch of cars lined up and the owners of the cars have candies in their trunks. Like, the cars are lined up, the trunks out, and they're all standing there, so the kids could go trick-or-treating, get candy in a safe environment. Yeah.
See, and I have a different view of this because, first of all, I take major issue with trunk or treat, and I've done it for many years because in Kansas, we're lazy people, so we love this stuff. To be clear, I always take my daughter trick-or-treating, and I'm always there with her, and I walk up to the door. But anyway, that's really just to get my cut. But but trunk or treating, I take 2 issues with it. One, we're constantly telling our kids not to walk up to strangers and definitely not to get near their trunks. And then suddenly we're like, oh, except tonight. So that's the first issue. The second one is, it is the laziest of the lazy. Like, I remember my daughter even saying something, because you work the whole circuit in like 15 minutes. It's like how you get a full night of trick-or-treating in 15 minutes. And it's great for parents. I'm not going to deny that. It's fantastic because your kid literally gets a full bag and it's been 15 minutes. Yep. But your kid walks away just like, I mean, okay, but did we really need to min-max this event? Like,
kind of waiting all year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there are certain activities where if you really build it up, you know, it's kind of good to like, you know, stretch it out a little bit, you know, make sure it lasts. So, trunk or treating, yeah.
As a kid, I remember like thinking and strategizing, what is the best way to hit all the houses in my neighborhood the quickest way? Like, especially when I get in like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, we're like, all right, tonight's the night, I'm getting me some candy. And being able to strategize like that, you're kind of cutting that off at the heels, but at the same time, for the kids, you're getting a lot of candy real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, the problem is you get a kid home, and again, I apologize, Beardy. I forget how old your daughter is at this point, but I think she's
3.5.
Okay. And my daughter's 6. So actually, I didn't know there was that wide of a gap, and only in these early years is that a wide gap. But anyway,
yeah.
Part of the draw to walking around the neighborhood is that your kid, while they do eat some candy when they get home, and I usually try to restrict my daughter a little bit, they are more exhausted than they realize because they've just walked like a square mile or two. Whereas with trunk or treat, oh no, like they have walked, you know, literally, you know, 2 aisles in Target and they're done. So, you know, like it's not quite the workout. So, I don't know. Me, I'm always trying to find activities that knock my daughter into a coma afterwards. Yes. And so I'm not a big fan of the trunk or treat. But again, they are kind of fun. Our YMCA does it. And in order to get to the trunk or treat, you have to walk through the locker room, which they turn into like a pseudo haunted house. And so for me, I really dig it because I'm a sadistic bastard and get off on watching my daughters creepily walk into a locker room, not sure of what's about to happen. I'm like, well, if you want the candy, we've got to walk this fast. But it's good fun.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Scoba says, my Halloween tradition is buy candy and then eat it. I live in an apartment and the little ones never show up. This year I plan to marathon Stranger Things because I've yet to watch either season. As for Simeon gaming, I nearly peed myself when I first heard the Spiders and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. This was on the Dreamcast and I was sleep deprived, which made me extremely jumpy. How do you say that? Samhain? Samian?
Sam Hain.
Sam Hain. Oh,
Sam Hain.
One quick take I didn't take. Sam Hain.
And fun fact, the only reason I know that, episode 7 of The Real Ghostbusters is the Sam Hain episode. Mm-hmm. And I highly recommend, actually it might be 14. I might be thinking of the Boogeyman episode. But anyway, it's on Netflix. Go check out the Sam Hain episode. It's a fantastic episode of The Real Ghostbusters.
I'm pretty sure there's a hardcore band called Sam Hain.
I'm sure there is, because he was the spirit of Halloween.
Oh, see.
He might have originally been known as Samhain or something, but he's definitely Sam Hain now.
See?
Yes.
We got all kinds of knowledge.
Also, fun fact, that Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain, Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame, first game she wrote. So,
see, we have all kinds of knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's who Sam Hain is. Doing a quick little Google. Sam Hain is an American rock band formed by singer Glenn Danzig. That's how I know who it is.
Oh,
Danzig's
okay.
band,
and that checks out.
Yeah.
Sounds like something
who says Halloween like Glenn Danzig?
No kidding.
All right, so Mr. Strip Mahjong says, I got invited to a costume party at the last minute once, so I made a super ghetto Earth Defense Force soldier costume entirely out of cardboard, a mailing tube, rocket launcher, and a Sharpie. It was pretty awful in a great way. The only other time I made a costume was around the time the Lord of the Rings films were out, so I made a few modifications to a Grim Reaper costume to make a Nazgul. Nazgul, see? Mm-hmm. It had a black mesh to wear over your head, so it was impossible to see your face when you had the hood on, but you could still see out of it. there was one woman at the party I went to with the costume that got progressively drunker and more terrified of the fact she couldn't see my eyes throughout the night. She was very focused on the lack of visible eyes. It was kind of amusing. Those two occasions aside, though, generally not much of a costume person. So kick this out to Mr. Rojas as the guest. Any Halloween video game costumes?
You know, I have to sadly admit, no. I mean, I guess I was Freddy Krueger in 1991, and technically he got a really bad NES game. But otherwise, I sadly have not. However, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of this, in Lawrence, Kansas in 2004, I did enjoy the warm embrace of a Link, although it was not a male. There was a girl at a party, a costume party, in Lawrence, Kansas, KU. And she was dressed as Link, and she kept calling herself Zelda. And there were so many problems I had with that. Because she was like, I'm Zelda, and Zelda's usually a guy, but I decided to do this because I'm such a big fan. And I knew better. I knew much better. But she was really attractive, so I took the higher ground and didn't explain any of those things and went home with one of my favorite male video game characters.
And so, are your therapy sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Mondays and Fridays?
Good question. I forget. But yeah, so yeah, that's the closest thing. There was one time I really wanted to be Chris Redfield from the original Resident Evil, and even started the process of making that costume full on cosplay style in high school. And then I was actually, this is going to explain my therapy a lot. I was actually convinced to be dress up as a girl cheerleader with a couple of other guys as part of a stint at school. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I make a freaking ugly chick, super ugly chick. But yeah, so never have dressed up as a video game character. You'd think, but I never did.
Los, what about you? Any video game costumes in your repertoire?
No, nothing. I mean, the past few years that we've gone trick-or-treating with the kids, I'm always off-duty Ghostbuster. It's my I wear my khaki colored cargo pants and my Ghostbuster shirt, and that's it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So so before that, I was just, doing more adult. As I got older, I did more adult stuff like, Punisher and things like that. My trench coat, before it was probably a good idea to do that. But now these days it's probably not a very good idea. I remember when I was younger, I used to be a actual on-duty Ghostbuster a lot, and I used to be Ninja Turtles and ninjas, and I used to all that stuff, but I never was somebody from a video game. I never put that together. So,
well, we're technically Ghostbusters, which I've been a Ghostbuster myself, and my wife and I and my brother-in-law and my daughter went as the 4 Ninja Turtles. Technically, those are all video game characters. They've all had their own games.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we could go with that. I have noticed we've, from where we've been in the stores checking out costumes and stuff, there are a lot of video game costumes these days, and it's awesome. I don't know if you guys have noticed, Party City, Spirit, all those things, they have like a dedicated video game character section that they have Mario, they have Assassin's Creed, they have Link. They have, all these different.
I like the characters. Little foamy buff Master Chief.
Yes,
that one's particularly funny to me.
I've been a Ninja Turtle. I was Raphael, and I have been a Ghostbuster, but I have also been Luigi. And it's actually that is in my adult world. I was Luigi. My brother-in-law was
last week.
Mario. And then my wife, then girlfriend, not even fiance at that point, was Daisy. And then my sister was Peach.
Or
wait, my sister was Peach, wife was Daisy?
Daisy hooks up with Luigi canonically.
Okay, then I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the time it worked out perfect. I'll have to see if I can dig up some of the photos because I was taller and leaner then, and then my brother-in-law was shorter and a bit heftier than he is now. Like now, the dude is a workout machine. Like I've reached up
hate when
some
people do that.
Oh God. I mean, like in high school, the dude would lift and was very buff, but then he went to a point where he was not, and it worked out perfectly. He's a little bit shorter than me, and so we were the perfect Mario Luigi pair. But now everyone like, why is he Mario? Is he like supposed to be like super buff Mario? I don't understand.
Yo, Mario got on a low carb diet. Okay, shit's going down. Okay, that's just the way it is. Also,
Atkins Mario over here.
Before anybody loses their mind, canonically in the video games, actually Mario was hooking up with both Daisy and Peach. Although there is some theories that Peach is hooking up with Bowser instead, and it's all just a big ruse. But in the movie, Luigi hooks up with Daisy.
Yes.
Sorry, it was bugging me.
Yeah. I felt it.
It's good to know these things. I'll see if I can dig up those pictures and put them in the Discord because, like, it's probably the best costume I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah,
I want to see
cool.
that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. But all right, I believe we're moving on. Correct?
Yes.
Or do you want me to tell my Halloween haunted house story now?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. I mean, that's where we're at, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
in high school, I worked at a haunted house just for one night. It was a volunteer thing, but it was still a like actual legit haunted house. I don't know why it was volunteer because I've been to other haunted houses and those people are getting paid. So my job was I was the spooky clown to ring a bell and pop open out of a wooden jack-in-the-box. And so as people came closer, I found the way to do this was I would get the best scares when people were like almost to my left because they walked in, it was a clown room, and no one would do anything. And so if I waited until they were just right past me, because I could see them through like a mesh opening that they couldn't see in, kind of like Strip's costume, I could see them, they can see me. So right at the right moment, I'd ring this buzzer, which is like a school next class kind of buzzer, and pop open and people would scream. I'm like, okay, I have the timing down. But one time, like Icarus, I flew too close to the sun and I waited till the person was too close. It was a group of 4 and I rang the buzzer, went to pop up out of the box, and out of reflex, the dude just hammer fisted the top of the box that I was popping out of and hit me in the head and sent me back down into the box to where I started seeing stars and was probably likely concussed, but I was a volunteer, so it didn't really matter.
That's why you were a volunteer.
Yes. For legal purposes, that's why I was a volunteer, in case I decided to get ballsy. But it was awesome. Some people, like, if you get the timing right and you really scare someone, I see how people really like that.
I love to get scared, and I'm not one of those people. I have a buddy who's like, I love to go to haunted houses because I just laugh at everybody and talk about how stupid they are. And I, of course, was the down, the person who brings him down to size. I was like, dude, then why would you go? I said, the whole point is to get legitimately, like, freak out scared because, like, that's awesome. And he goes, what do you mean that's awesome? I was like, I get off on that. I like that. And he was like, oh, okay. Because actually here in Kansas City, we have like a lot of weird haunted houses. We've got haunted caves in Missouri where they literally go into dark caves and turn them into haunted houses. No, they actually build a haunted house in the cave, and you kind of do a spook walk through the cave to the haunted house, and then you leave and you go through like a haunted swamp, and then you actually leave out the back of the caves where there's like the quarry with all the vehicles and stuff, and of course a big dude with a chainsaw chases you out of there. And you go into a viaduct to get in, but my big thing. Oh, my big thing is I hate clowns. I'm not per se scared of them, and like I don't hate them to the point of like I can watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space or It, and it doesn't bother me. But I just don't like clowns as a general rule. And we were walking through this haunted caves, and nothing was really getting me. Like I was like, girls, don't be so scared. But my sister was in high school, and Julie was then my girlfriend, and we were going through, and I went first, of course. And I'm all talking and just having fun and things like that until we just enter this one thing. And what it was a clown maze that was made up of chain link fences on all four sides. So clowns would leap down from above, like they would land above you, like 4 feet above you, and just start slamming on the cage. And there were mirrors, and it's all in the dark with black lights, and it was not cool. It was not cool at all.
I feel like I'd still be having nightmares about that, probably.
The other one I wanted to mention was if you ever come to Kansas City, there's a place in Bonner Springs, Kansas called the 3rd Street Asylum. It is a 4-story haunted house. And aside from being rated like one of the best haunted houses in Kansas City, it is in an old abandoned school.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. Complete with a tour through the actual boiler room.
Nope.
Right?
No.
I've never done it. I haven't quite gotten to the point. And next door to it is a true spook walk that is a 1-mile hike through actual woods where they freak you out. And they've just used chain link fences to block off the property. We live it large out here in Kansas. You could die in our haunted houses.
Yeah.
Like my buddy went out to California to be an actor and ended up working Universal haunted house thing. They do like what is it, like Universal? It's not the City Walk, but it's something else.
The Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, and he ended up doing that, the Halloween Horror Nights, and so it's a bunch of like wannabe actors trying to do their best to try to get noticed in the haunted house. So they're all going all out, but they're also wannabe actors out in Hollywood. And the amount of illicit drugs and the kind of drugs they're doing while they're trying to scare people makes for some stories. I'll bet you should probably actually be fearing for your life during that.
Yeah, we have Halloween Horror Nights here, and I don't think that's as much of a problem here as it probably would be over there in California.
Maybe you just don't notice.
Yeah, probably. I don't have my radar on.
That's a good thing. Don't worry about it.
If you notice a bunch of actors or people playing characters who are sniffing a lot, they don't all have colds.
Except for me. I definitely just have a cold. But yeah, no, it's something else. I have always dug really crazy haunted houses. Actually, Beardy, in Chicago, they used to do one at the Museum of Science and Industry, I think. I forgot what it was called. It was like a really crazy haunted house, and you had to sign the waiver because they like touch you.
Mm.
They have the ability to touch, grab, and push you.
Mm.
See, now, I live in a city that borders Joliet.
Right, and I know you're south of the city. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Statesville, which is the prison from Blues Brothers. But they turn a prison into a haunted house. Oh. And there is apparently a clown room that's full of balloons where the balloons fill up. He's through the balloons, and then, it's like that.
Nope. Although I will say my favorite gag in a haunted house as of late, the two that I see most often are, and I don't know if you guys have experienced these, they're pretty rough. The one is the one where the strobe light flashes every like 10 seconds and more people with those mesh faces in the room keep entering the room with you. And so you suddenly have like 10 people all dressed with like black faces just like surrounding you in this strobe lit room. That one's pretty good. And then they like brush past you and stuff. They don't actually do anything, but one day they will. And then there's also the one where you enter a public restroom and there's a guy in like a poop covered stall who like busts out and he's all covered with like brown paint and stuff like that. And he runs past you and he kind of tries to act like he'll rub up against you. And it's just, it's a different kind of care.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so good. Because that would be my biggest fear. It's not like, all right, you're a spooky clown. Whatever. Like, oh no, right? Nothing get on me.
Oh, the other thing is, and what they do is, at least in the haunted caves, what they did was they knocked a wall out of the bathroom. So then you had to walk past the other stalls, and people would like throw like toilet paper and stuff at you and stuff as you left the bathroom. It was a circumstance. It was something else.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's right. That's how you do a haunted house up.
Yeah, you mentioned a school, an abandoned school. I remember, like, I was trying to think of like what I've been through that would justify like creepy, and this like tops it now. I can't believe it. Like, I erased it from my head. In New York, my father, he used to be a superintendent for an apartment building. So like he would get hired to do like side jobs, basically. So one of his side jobs was a school in Peekskill, New York. It's like, you know, more upstate, you know, a little ways away. And in this school, it was abandoned. It wasn't abandoned. It was empty. Like, it's been empty for a while. Well, I guess that's abandoned, isn't it?
Like condemned? Like it was shut down?
I don't know what it was. I don't know. I was young. Like I think I was junior high, around there. So I didn't really care about details or whatever like that. And
I'm still kind of like that, but yeah, okay.
So yeah, he would go, right? And, you know, he would always ask if I wanted to go with him. And, you know, if I wanted to go, bring my friends, and, you know, we could play basketball in the gym while he worked or whatever. So for his hours, he would not be able to go until nighttime. So we went, like, it was me and a bunch, like, probably like 5 friends of mine. We went, you know, about the basketball. We were like, okay, we're going to go play. So it basically turned in from, you know, getting there and being like, okay, let's play basketball, to, okay, let's explore this creepy ass fucking school. And it was so out there. Like, it was like a movie set. Like, you would think stuff like this wasn't real, but no, it's like totally legit. Like, you would walk in, it'd be totally dark, one light on in a corner somewhere, and you would walk by and you could see like very faintly what's going on. You could see like rooms, classrooms with no doors, writing on the walls in red, writing all over mirrors in the bathrooms, and
wow.
And like, you know, just creepy ass shit. And there was somebody living in there. The guy who owned it, the guy who owned the school, because I guess he bought it for something, like, you know, to
that
do whatever.
happens. Yeah.
So he owned it. He lived in there. So I don't know if he just like generally lived in like a dark ass school and just left like one light on where he.
Well, it's real easy to hide the bodies if you have like a whole school that's abandoned for which to place them. So, yeah, you know, basically. It makes sense.
So I knew this guy was in there, right? I knew this guy was somewhere in the school. So we were just walking around, and like I heard water running, and I was like, okay, so maybe that's the guy. I don't know. So we would walk, and like, I thought I was walking away from the water, but I was walking towards it. So he was taking a shower, and it was like one of the open showers. And I was like, okay, he's in there. We gotta go. Cause I don't know if this guy knows we're there. So yeah, that probably wouldn't have been good if we stuck around. But yeah, my father, like you mentioned the boiler room, he was working in the boiler room. So we went into the boiler room. I went in there because he needed help with something. Straight up out of, what was that, Hellraiser, with all the chains hanging down from the ceilings and everything. For some reason, there was fucking chains hanging down from the ceiling.
No.
I had no idea why. And like, it was just like so like out there. Like I wanted to go. I wanted to leave because I just felt it. And my friends, they didn't care. They were just like having fun going through everywhere and everything.
Yep. And your friends would be first ones out in a horror movie. Yep.
Yeah.
Just just picking them off one by one as they walk through the door. It's like a bad game of Call of Duty. Just sit at the bottleneck and take them out.
Oh man, it was so bad. But when you mentioned abandoned school, it reminded me of all those memories. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep because of you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, watch Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. It makes it all easier. That all takes place in a school. There's a scene where he catches his coach in the shower naked. There's a B&D scene. It's fantastic. You should, yeah.
No,
yeah, rent it
I'm
tonight.
okay. I'm all right.
You know what? Actually, I have an extra copy. Would you like me to send you the DVD?
No.
Okay.
I'll use my imagination. It's okay. It's already working full steam. So I'm good. So yeah, there was that. There was my sister-in-law. She used to work the ghost tours, like one of the ghost tours. And she would tell us about shit that she would hear and see. And it's like, no, that I don't get how people don't believe in this stuff. Like it's, cause I don't know. She would come back with stories and it's like, nah, I'm good.
Actually, it's funny you guys mentioned this. Just like Los, I suddenly had a flashback memory. I worked in a haunted spook walk in Illinois again, over in the Libertyville area, actually, Beardy. And I was the monkey in the cage. I got in a gorilla costume, no joke. And we ripped the arm off of the gorilla costume and stuffed it with newspaper. And then I had like a fake blood, like it didn't squirt out. It more like misted out. It like sprayed kind of like a, like, you know, those water bottles you spray at cats. It was kind of like that. Only with like Zap It red stuff. But it was like the red stuff that like went on red, but it like dried clear. So like it didn't like stain anybody's stuff. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, what we did was it was a haunted hayride. So it was self-propelled. So people would, you know, you'd have young kids on this, which is why it was even more messed up. We did this. And I'd be the monkey in the cage. But then as the spook walk, like the little, like, you know, that slow moving tractor would drive by, I would break out of the cage. And I'd come running, and the farmer would be sitting there, and he would rev up the chainsaw and come after me. He had a chainsaw with no blade on it, and they'd saw it off, and then I'd sit there with my arm missing and spray out the little mist. And we did this for like hours. It was fantastic. Oh, God, I remember that. That was the best thing. And I do remember this one time, because we only did it for it was only for a weekend. And I remember sometime like early Saturday, I was on my break or something, and the girl who was running it came up to us, and me and the guy who was the farmer, and she goes, "Hey, just a quick question. Are you guys like sawing an arm off and like spraying blood at people?" And we were like, "No. Why would we do that?" And she was like, "I don't know. Somebody said that they were talking about it at the exit or something." I was like, "That's crazy. No." And then when we got back, I was like, "Okay, dude, seriously, we can't do that ever again. Like, I think we're going to get in trouble."
Oh, man.
So now, Fred, are you aware of Resurrection Mary?
Is this the same thing as like Bloody Mary?
No, Resurrection Mary is a Chicago-based spook where apparently it was a girl on a prom night or homecoming where she is known to be hitchhiking down Archer Road in Chicago.
Oh,
and she'll get into a taxi cab, and then they'll pick her up, and then she will disappear right next to Resurrection Cemetery.
Oh, wow. No, I haven't heard this.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
It is an old Chicago fable, and it's on like Chicago ghost tours. I used to live right next to that cemetery.
Oh, no kidding.
So, there was a bar across the street that every Halloween from October on, they had a sign outside that said, "Eat, drink, and see Mary."
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. No. And you know, the Candyman thing, you know, it's always been like a weird thing if you lived by Chicago, because the movie Candyman was like, because there's loose truth to that. I think it's not actually Candyman, but it's based off of, you know, some other urban legend. Obviously it's just a take on the Bloody Mary thing, but I'm guessing, Los, have you seen Candyman, or do you know the story?
I was hoping you were not going to bring me into this conversation.
Oh, okay, sorry. Never mind.
Because if I had to pick one thing that like scare the shit. People have clowns. That this is my thing right here. These two things that you're talking about right now. That's my thing.
Well, it's really funny because without getting too much into it, my wife is definitely of that cut from the same cloth. She heard about Bloody Mary and will never to this day will never do it. Like, she doesn't even care if it does. If it, she's had her friends go in and do it, and nothing's happened to them.
No, I'll never do that.
Meanwhile,
Nope.
First second I heard about it, went right, closed the door. And the reason I bring this all up was Beardy I worked at the for Radio Shack in downtown Chicago, and one day I was a assistant manager, and one day I was asked to close the Division in Clybourne location, which is right across the street from Cabrini Green after they shut down Cabrini Green. And for some dumb reason, my girlfriend and I at the time, her name was Diana, she came to pick me up, and I was closing up shop. I was doing that thing you're not supposed to do, but we do anyway, where you let your girlfriend in, but you lock the door and then you close down the drawer and everything. And I was like, Cabrini Green's across the street. And she goes, it'd be really messed up. Like, what if we went in the bathroom and did the Candyman thing right now? And I was
he lives across the street.
I was like, yeah, he's across the street though. And she goes, yeah, I know. Like, what if he could get to this mirror? Like, what if, because it was a strip mall. She goes, what if he could get into this strip mall? And I'll give it to her. Like, I had a moment of serious hesitation, but then we did it. And I'm still, as far as I know, alive. But yeah, I will tell you, that was the first time where I actually had moments of hesitation, because I wonder if that actually happened. Because the whole idea is that you could break out the mirrors in the bathrooms, and so he could move through the walls. So he was actually able to do the Bloody Mary thing because of just the architecture of the buildings in Cabrini Green. Never did hear. Do you know, Beardy, if any of that's substantiated or if it's just all urban legend from a horror movie?
I think it's all urban legend. I'm doing some quick Googling because I had heard that before but never followed through because I'm like, well, I need to sleep sometimes. And I'm like, oh, Cabrini Green's gone. They tore down those housing projects.
They did tear them down, yeah. At the time, though, the abandoned buildings were up, and my girlfriend, girlfriend was insane. But she liked to smoke a lot of pot too. She was a good girl. I remember specifically sitting at the corner of Division and Clybourne waiting for the bus. And she just like pulled out a one hitter and started smoking it right at the bus stop. Trust me, the cops didn't really care. And she was like, do you want to like walk through there? And I said, no, absolutely not. And she was like, ha ha, much like the Candyman thing, you started walking across the street. I said, oh no, this is definitely one you do on your own. I said, I am not going over there. I refused. There was no way. I felt eerie enough just that one night. And it was a well lit strip mall, but you could just see the shadows, and they are tall buildings. Like, if you've never seen them, I'm guessing you have, Beardy, but like Los, if you've never seen them, like we are talking like true, like 12, 15 story high rises, and they were box apartments. Like, think of like grid based, like, hostel housing. It was creepy. At night, it just looked creepy, and they were bright white buildings, and all you saw was the broken out windows all over the place. And oh my God.
Just ominous looking.
You know what it reminds me of? If you ever see those clips of Chernobyl after everyone evacuated when they melted down, that is exactly what Cabrini looked like when they vacated everybody. Oh, now I'm shuddering. But yeah. Yeah.
All right. So how do we want to work this next bit of just Halloween movies, games? Do we want to just go round table, each pick a movie game that fits that scratches that itch, or what are we gonna do?
I say we talk some games.
Okay.
and
until you said some games, I was laughing, but I stopped.
No, I would have been fine saying something like cartoons or, like whatever happy dappy stuff that would, cheer me up right now and make me stop thinking about things.
Okay, so we'll talk about the anime Wicked City. If you haven't seen it, it's about a demonic subworld. But
that's fine. That's fine. Just get off the previous conversation. It's all right.
Okay.
Tell you.
How about I'll pitch a game first and say it is a game that I will at least play for a couple minutes every year for the rest of my life in October. Costume Quest.
I still haven't played that.
Los, it's all you. that game is literally you. It's like, yeah, it's like South Park without the crude humor. It is so cute and fun and the total embodiment of the positive side of Halloween.
Yeah.
It is trick-or-treating in the suburbs. Like even totally from like the sound design where they have the dogs barking in the background, crickets chirping. Like if you trick or treat in the suburbs, like that is the game, the total embodiment of that experience. And then there's like a mall level where you go trick or treating in a mall.
Mm-hmm.
It is the perfect, most cutesy game, and it's a game that I fell asleep playing even before I had kids. So it is this like turn-based combat, and you wear the costumes, and you're just trying to work through in this world that is perfect spooky Halloween. It is not scary Halloween, that's what I like. I like spooky Halloween. Scary Halloween with slasher films, not my thing with a few exceptions. Like Cabin in the Woods, that is an exception. I love that movie because it's an antithetical Halloween horror movie.
Yeah, that's more of a thought experiment on tropes of horror movies. I dig that one. And of course it's written by Joss Whedon, but hey.
So that is one of the few exceptions I have. Like, I like spooky. Like right now, one of my favorite, well, we'll get in films later, but Halloween movie or Halloween game is Costume Quest. Perfect. Don't bother with Costume Quest 2. A letdown.
From a gameplay perspective, Costume Quest 2 came through, but Tim Schafer and Elliot Roberts wrote the first one, and Elliot Roberts is actually one of the lead writers over at Double Fine, outside of the obviously well-regarded Tim Schafer. And it just has that right balance of charm and stuff. The second one, I get that they really refined the video game portions of it, but the draw of it was never the video game portion.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to play, like, don't get me wrong, but like it's just the combination of both the plot and the aesthetic and the video game that come together. And so when they focused on making one thing stronger than the others, for me it didn't hit as hard.
Yeah, exactly. And it scratched the itch where I'm like, I really want another like it was a game that I would Google Costume Quest 2 every couple of months just to see if it was coming out or to see if it was a thing. And when I saw that it finally gained traction, I was so excited. And then when it came out, I was still very excited. And even the first level, you're in like the like a bayou level in New Orleans, was really cool. They just kind of go off the rails, and that's a game like a lot of cute games are, like a lot of Mario games, where the aesthetic is what makes the game.
Yeah, another thing that should be noted, Los, if you've never played it, and this may draw you, is like the characters are different, in different costumes, and when they use their like power move, like it's kind of an action time battle, kind of like early like mid-level Final Fantasy games like 7. So when you do like your burst, your super attack, they literally become, so like the girl is dressed as the Statue of Liberty, she literally becomes the Statue of Liberty and does a special attack. So it's really good. The other thing that should be noted, and Beardy, I don't know if you've ever done it, but the DLC is called Grubbins on Ice.
Yes.
And that's fun because it's a Christmas themed thing. So the idea is, and it came out a couple months later, is that once you finish Costume Quest, you can just like sit on your laurels, and then right around when you're just post Thanksgiving and that first snow hits, or in that time period, you can just boot up Grubbins on Ice and just make a double deal of it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, highly recommended.
I think I have it. I think I have Costume Quest.
Scott, I would hope so after all of the different versions that have come out. Although you might have it on a console you've no longer hooked up.
No, I think I was just logging on here to check and see if it's, because I want to say it was free on PlayStation Plus 1 year.
Yeah, I know 1 or 2 was free.
Right. Well, and fun fact, for those of you who are on the old PC, although I'm not going to lie, this game will run on any PC bought in the last freaking 5 years. It is currently, the first Costume Quest is currently 99 cents on Steam all the way through till Halloween.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It even was on iOS, and I think until just recently when they had their transfer. And now it will not run on your iPhone anymore. Because I played like last year when I was still traveling out east a couple times a year for work, I bought it because I had to travel on Halloween. Like, all right, if I had to travel on Halloween, I'm going to play a game. And I can't think of a better game to play than Costume Quest. So I played it on my phone on the plane, and it played perfectly.
Nice. It is still available for Android, so there you go. For what that's worth.
Word. All right, I'm double checking.
So, Fred, what's your quintessential?
Ooh, my quintessential horror game. It always used to be the original Resident Evil and then the remake, but I'm gonna bypass those because I'm kind of growing out of it. A little bit. My new one that has been every year for the last 3 years, and I think I'm gonna live stream it this year, and let people make the decisions for me. Has got to be Fred French mentioned it first, and he was completely right. Until Dawn. OMG. I love this game. It is a choose-your-own-adventure horror film. And it is, like, have you guys, either of you played this?
No.
I have it. It was PlayStation Plus a few months ago.
There you go. Now, I'm not going to lie, Los. It is jarring. It's scary. It is true horror. It uses real actors, but it is mocap. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Uncharted, where they look alive, but it's definitely not full motion video. So you're not talking a Night Trap situation here. But it is a horror movie. It's about 8 hours long. There's 15 chapters, usually lasting about 30 to 45 minutes. And you follow different characters. Characters can die. And the story just continues without them. And your ending is kind of based off of that circumstance. And the decisions you make, more so than there are some quick time events, but I've learned that outside of one or two of them, those don't really, whether you're good or bad at them, those don't really affect the outcome. It's more the decisions you make, and you flat out make decisions. And I've played through it many times. Every time I've done it, it's been with a group. So if you guys want my advice, Beardy, if you and your wife and maybe some friends are down for it, I definitely recommend it. But you're going to have to set up a few nights. I don't think, power bombing through this thing for 8 hours is a good idea. What we did was most Octobers, I would get together with friends and do it. Do 2 chapters or whatever. We do like 2 hours. We'd basically break it out so you could do it in 4 sessions, and every weekend we'd do 1 session for like 2 or 3 hours. And if you guys want to see it with some humor, on my youtube.com/VGPTGS, I play through 3/4 of the game with my buddy Nick, and we make decisions, but we also make a ton of jokes. We do like a MST3K thing with it. And the only downside is the last 3 chapters got lost. And I have had so many people going, well, where are the last 3 chapters? Like, this was entertaining. And I was like, they were lost. We don't have them. And people lose their minds. Like, they are not happy with that. But if you guys go look it up, if you don't want to play it yourself, you can watch us do a playthrough of it. It's in full 1080p and everything. And we keep the audio from the game plus him and me, and we're mic'd up in separate parts of the room. And then I just mixed it all together. It took a long time to make those videos. I was really sad we lost the last 3. We contemplated re-recording it, but I think we'd lose the vibe. But it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the game's like $10 and it was on Plus, so a lot of people will already have it. But that game's a lot of fun. And if you get going now, especially like if you just want to do like you and your wife, the first time I played through it, it was just me and my wife, Beardy or Los. If you guys want to do it that way, again, it kind of takes back some of the horror because, it is... you got someone else in the room with you. If you did 2-hour intervals, there's still plenty of time before Halloween to knock this out. But from a content standpoint, there is definitely not for kids. There is lots of graphic violence, very graphic violence. It's definitely scary. Jump scares the whole 9. And of course the controller vibrates. So, And then there is even some sexual content in there. And you know why I knew this game really nailed all the horror tropes? Because the way you get to play as the boyfriend with the girlfriend in the cabin, and you guys are going to get sexy. And my wife and I, when we played through it, decided to play our cards right. and things don't go so well. Like she never really gets too far into the thing. And then of course when I played through with my buddy Nick on this playthrough that's on YouTube, we treated her like utter dog trash, and she like just threw herself at us. She stripped down a lot more and things like that. So it definitely plays off of horror tropes. But that I think has become my quintessential Halloween game. And so, like I said, I wanted to stream it this year, and I think I might, and then have the audience make the decision, because you are given not immediate amount of, like not a huge amount of time, but you're given about 45 seconds to make any decision, just enough time for people on Twitch to be able to chime in, and you can pick the first option that somebody chimes in on. But because they're binary choices, like do this or do that. So, but yeah, definitely a very good game. The one question I do have is I am also playing a game right now, Evil Within 2. Should I save that or should I talk about it now?
I'd say let the good times roll.
Okay, so I'll be real quick.
Let's talk about it now.
Okay, so the Evil Within the original. Anybody play that one?
Absolutely not.
Okay, and my take from Los was F no. Hello?
But let's just assume his take was F no.
And I'm thinking about putting some of those up actually on YouTube. Some people were asking me, and I played through that whole game just recently, and I captured like half of it. No commentary, just the footage in 4K. If I put that up, would you watch it, Beardy? Even like, not the whole thing, but like, would you watch like a 20-minute romp through basically a haunted house where you can actually die?
How much are you going to talk me off a ledge?
Okay. Not much. Anyway. That game was very scary. Like there were things in it. The jump scares were very strong. That game was incredibly terrifying, and it was very. I usually don't use this term because I think it was overused for a long time. Visceral, but there's no better word for it. Everything was slimy. Everything was bloody. There were bodies. There were just unsettling sounds. But that game was also equally frustrating. You would like pop a corner and you'd get your head cut off, and they'd be like, ha ha, see, that's challenge. And then you get pushed back, with a long load time. And then you get pushed back 10 minutes to the non-existent checkpoint. There are no checkpoints. It's all save spots. Yeah. Well, actually, there might have been a couple checkpoints, but they were never good enough. So a lot of people didn't like that game because to play it is very frustrating. We did a recent Gaming History 101 on it, and we talked about a lot of the frustrations of it. But the concept was really good, and it was a very unsettling game. Not since like Resident Evil and like Silent Hill 2 was I so unsettled and tense while playing a game. It was a game I couldn't play in long stints. I needed to take breathers, and it's 20 hours long, Beardy, 32 hours with DLC. So you're in a house of horrors for a long time. So with that in mind, we go into the sequel. And I'm happy to say that the sequel's not as bad. They actually, like, from either a horror standpoint or a gameplay standpoint. It's been a long time since I've seen a game that so clearly addresses like all of the flaws of the first game, like boop, 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 boop. Like every step of the way, they heard what you said and they fixed it, which to me rarely happens. I don't know. How about you?
In terms of them fixing
like, so for example, like people hated the fact that things would just jump out and kill you, and then you'd have to get pushed back. They got rid of that. People didn't like. So in most games that are on consoles, there's like a lock. So like in Halo, if you're about to get like near a headshot, it kind of snaps to the headshot. Or like in Gears or in like Call of Duty, like it kind of aim assists you. This game had no aim assist. Oh, sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, I don't typically notice those things unless, like you said, it's a negative experience. Like if I'm getting the headshots, I'm like, yeah, I'm freaking awesome.
Well, yeah, no. And there's nothing wrong with that. But actually, you don't notice the aim assist because they're so good, and they're kind of necessary with dual analog sticks. As a person who plays on PC, but I don't like keyboard and mouse, like you, and that's why you should never play against a keyboard and mouse player in multiplayer. But yeah, like I don't notice the aim assist until you play the Evil Within, which had no aim assist, and you are literally taking pot shots with almost no ammo. This is a survival horror game, so you've got like 3 bullets, so every hit counts. Headshots did not kill a person immediately; it just slowed them down, and you're clumsier than like a drunk boxer with boxing gloves trying to operate a machine gun. Like, it's just terrible.
And then I remember this game coming out, but what are like the main kind of enemies? Was this a zombie game?
They looked like zombies, but they were twisted versions of zombies because it was like a guy who like half his face had been peeled off, and he'd have like a nail going through his skull also and coming at you, and then maybe he'd have like no arm, and of course when you'd kill him, his head would literally, like in real physics, explode like part of his head, and then the goop would fly all over you, and sometimes it would smear on the screen and stuff. It was a very wet, squishy game.
Was this the game where everything got more difficult at nighttime?
No, there was no day-night cycle. This was as linear as it comes. This was even probably more linear than Resident Evil 4. It would have open areas where you could tackle them in different ways, but kind of like BioShock, where it was like, okay, here's Killbox room number 1, navigate the environment, try to get through everything. Now here's Killbox room number 2. Like that was how that game went. But they would do really mean things. Like you'd have like they'd give you a really tough boss battle, and they'd give you some ammo before that boss battle, and you'd use all your ammo, and you'd have like 1 hint of ammo, 1 health pack, and then you'd walk into the next area, and they'd have like 15 zombies ambush you, and they're like, haha, see that? We call that challenge. And it wasn't challenge. It was bullshit, actually, for lack of a better term. And so, me and Jam loved that game, although I reviewed it. I had an actual review copy and gave it a 3 out of 5, which a lot of people at that time did the conversion to 10 points and said 6 out of 10, and they were like, oh my God, how did you hate this game so much? But I was just like, it's got some flaws. And actually, I beat the game recently, reread my review, and I said I agree with every single thing I said on there. that review's on Gaming History 101 if people want to look it up. But so it was a game you want to like if you like real tense horror games that are gory. It was one of the most startling games I'd ever played. In fact, I think my opening line is, the evil within is the stuff of nightmares. Literally the stuff of nightmares. If you have a nightmare about stuff, be it clowns, be it various other things, spiders, demons, women, they're all in there. There is literally a woman who is invincible and kind of horny, and she's chasing you the whole time, and you don't want to let her get to you, I promise. I won't spoil what happens to you, but you don't want to let her get to you. And so it was just this great horror experience, but the gameplay was so like archaic. Like we're talking like more archaic, both in controls and in methodology than like Silent Hill 2, which was like a launch PS2 game. Like it was just so out of its time period. Remember, this came out like right at the beginning of the PS4, Xbox One era. So anyway, moving into the Evil Within 2, and this will be brief because I can just get into it. I've only played about 6 or 7 hours in the game. I'm told is like 20, 30 hours. Whoa. So it's another long one. Yeah, so was the Evil Within 1. Again, Evil Within 1, I couldn't believe it. I played through it recently with all the DLC. I logged 32 hours in that game to get through everything. But this game, on the other hand, there are different difficulties, which there were in the previous game, but it was like easy and normal. Is all you had. Now there's like 3 tiers, and they kind of help you understand. So like there's a story mode, which is just like super easy, but we let you get the story. And in my opinion, it won't be super easy. And then there's a normal mode, which has the aim assist. And then there's survival mode, which is like, it says for people who like the previous game. So I've been playing through on survival, but it is like, it doesn't have the aim assist. So a lot of your troubles from the previous game kind of come back, but like I'm kind of used to it. You know what I mean? And they have like a better control scheme. The control scheme, I don't know what it is about the Japanese, but they're like, these control schemes that all those Americans like, well, we're going to throw that all out and put the jump button on triangle or something. That'll be fun. And so that's how the Evil Within worked, the first one. And so they've got the control scheme from the previous game, which I like because I'm just coming off the game. But they have a more action-packed kind of Call of Duty style control scheme that's much more useful to the average Western gamer. So they're doing that stuff, which I really like. And the bigger part of this is it's an open world game. You are literally dropped I guess I could get into the plot, but the whole idea is you're kind of there's kind of a company that's very much like Umbrella, only they're called Mobius, and there's a way where you can get basically locked into a system called STEM, where they link multiple brains together into one central brain, and there they create a universe that you feel like you're actually in, and that's how all this stuff's able to happen. And that's not a spoiler from even the first game. And so you're, of course, in the brains of these really mentally unstable people, and that's why you have these really mentally unstable circumstances. And so in this game, you're dropped in the STEM, but it's like an entire town that has been completely converted and is completely accessible from the beginning, that is like possessed by like demons. And the one thing they did do this time is not only are those guys all twisted and messed up and they make some really wicked sounds, and with the surround sound, it's real effective. They make those gurgling, groany sounds. Now their eyes glow red in the dark. And they're photosensitive to dark. So they do some really good stuff with lighting and things like that. But this is a fully functional town. And like there are times where you're just coasting along in the town. Let's go check out, it's kind of survival-esque. There's a little bit of crafting, but nothing ridiculous. And you're kind of coasting around, and then you're like, oh, let's go check out the garage. And out comes this big behemoth that's just ready to pound you into dust. And now this is happening. And like, but it's not a bad thing. It's like a crazy thing. It's like, oh shit, okay, now I'm in a boss battle, and let's see what I can do with it. And of course, like everything else, health is limited, ammo's limited. It's a survival horror game. And again, I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty, but I bet to a certain extent it's still like that on the other difficulties. But it's a really good game, and I think it's made for more audiences. And because it's more action-packed, the best conversion I can give you is those who played Resident Evil 1 and then 4 realized that 4, while it was still jarring and it was still scary, it was more of an action game and played as such. The same is true here. The first one is really jarring and kind of cumbersome and doesn't have the greatest mechanics. This one's a full refinement. And in refining it and making you a little more of a balanced player and a balanced circumstance, especially with the open world nature where you can literally run from everything. That big behemoth I'm talking about, if you got a smoke bomb, throw it and run the fuck away and never look back. Like, you can dodge being a part of it. And the way they kind of gate that stuff is, if you don't take out those guys, you don't get the XP you need to boost up. And I'm sure in later on story missions that are happening within the town, you're not going to be able to beat some of the enemies you'll face later on.
So really, it sounds like Resident Evil / Dead Rising without the funny and the whimsy. Like the open world, you need the XP.
I'd say that is very accurate. Yes. And it's very interesting. I like the direction, and they don't hesitate to really have some messed up stuff. Like in the very beginning of the game, it starts off, you think it's going to be linear. I think they do this on purpose. You think it's going to be linear, and you think it's going to be like the first game, and you're wandering through this abandoned house and stuff like that, and you end up like, just to give you an idea of some of the imagery, you end up in like a basement type area, like a big industrial like building basement, and all of a sudden you see like a woman who is clearly dead, but she's got a sheet over her, and there's a noose wrapped around her neck, and there's blood slowly dripping down her exposed legs, which are the only parts of her you can see. And then it drips onto the floor in pools. And every time you turn around, there's more and more of them. And eventually you're in a room completely covered with them. And if you bump into them, realistic physics, they move around and stuff. And then before you know it, some big, really creepy thing bursts through the walls, and you have to deal with that. And I won't spoil that. But like, it doesn't stray too far away from the jarring stuff. But at the same time, yeah, it is like an open world game. So yeah, that's a great explanation. It's like if Resident Evil 4 had a baby with Dead Rising 3, I guess I would say is probably the closest analog. That would be it. With no humor, though. This is really truly messed up. Oh, and to boot, just so that everybody can be really messed up, you play as the same character from the first game, Detective Sebastian Castellanos, who in the first game you find out his daughter has unfortunately passed away, and you don't know why. And in the beginning of this game you find out it's from a house fire, which is not cool at all. And you get to relive that circumstance, so that's very rough to kind of go through, especially because the daughter's 9 and my daughter's 6. You're getting a little close to home now. But the good news is, I guess, and this is part of the plot, so I'm not spoiling anything, she ends up being alive. And guess who is stuck in this world of horrors that you're trying to hopefully get to and protect? So that, and I don't know how that's going to all go down, but there's definitely this parental draw to go protect your child, which is quite interesting. If you want my gut, don't worry too much about the story, and you definitely don't have to play the first game if you're thinking about giving this a go, but it's don't try to make sense of it, because the first game's really hard to make sense of as well. You can kind of try to listen to our podcast where we do an okay job of doing it, but ultimately this game's an all gameplay kind of game. This is, if you want your horror, but you don't want like, oops, I crap my pants horror. You want like just on the cusp of like disturbing. You know what I mean?
So we're looking at Blurg the game. Just bleh. Bleh.
Like
No.
it's more Saw than Hostel. You know what I mean? Like if the first game was Hostel, this is more Saw, which is still creepy and still twisted. But
Yeah, because I'm not I've seen Hostel and I've seen most of the Saw movies, which again, I know like you don't like the bloody gore movies. I know. I'm an enigma wrapped in a burrito. I don't know what to tell you. I like what I like. I like the Saw movies. I like the first one, second one. Third, and then like by the third one, you're in. You have to watch them all. Like, okay, I don't like this anymore, but I got to keep going.
Yeah. So, like I said, Beardy, I don't know if you'll jump at it. Los, I know you're out. But yeah, it's intriguing. I wish it would sell better. And to be clear, I didn't get a review copy. I actually bought this game because I knew I'd want it day one. But early reports are, without getting kind of political about this, early reports are we're telling everybody we want loot boxes because at least in the UK, Shadow of War sold like more than Shadow of Mordor did. And The Evil Within 2 sold less than 20% of what the original did. And this is a Bethesda joint. They tend to drop game prices pretty quick. I doubt they'll drop it before Christmas. And boy, is this the feel-good Christmas game of the year. But I foresee in early 2018, this one will probably get a hefty price drop, to be honest. But it's a really, like, I can't wait to get when I'm done with this to go play it again. I'm hooked to playing it for at least like an hour every night, and the open world nature of it means I don't have to do the chapters were really weird in the first game. Some of them were 20 minutes long, some of them were 3 hours long. That's really hard to kind of gauge your time with a game. Because saying one chapter a night could be a big or small commitment, So this one's a little easier. You're just like, because you learn the hub worlds as to where you can save, you're just like, okay, look on my mini map, go grab the save house, save. I'm done for the night. I'm cool. So,
and I saw the game I was thinking of earlier, Dying Light. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah. I've never played Dying Light. I've heard good things. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. If you like Blurg.
Oh, duh. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something different. I've played the hell out of Dying Light. That one I recommend everyone play. I even got the following enhanced edition thing afterwards. I bought the expansion right at launch. Actually, Dying Light's an amazing game.
Oh, see?
Yeah, it's Mirror's Edge meets Dead Rising, to be honest, which is fantastic. It does Mirror's Edge better than Mirror's Edge 2 does, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Most games do Mirror's Edge better than Mirror's Edge 2 does.
Touche.
Los, what say you? Halloween game, spooky game.
Spooky game. Luigi's Mansion. Let me tell you.
Oh, good pull.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cartoony on you. No surprise. No big secret. I don't do spooky stuff. Until dawn, I've had this weird itch to try just because from what I hear, but
do it.
Yeah.
That weird poll, it's called Fred Rojas.
Yeah, I know.
Do it.
but yeah, I don't do them. I don't do creepy stuff. I mean, it's back in the day when I was okay with doing the spooky stuff. I was doing Fatal Frame. I was doing Silent Hill. I was into all that stuff. But now Luigi's Mansion is hitting that spot. That's all I need. I'm good. And I'm loving it. I'm playing it whenever I can, whenever I'm not, like I said, I'm still on the Destiny grind. So I'm still, looking up the videos and how-tos and what I need to do and all that stuff. But when I'm not doing that, I'm, got a few spare minutes. I'm putting it in Luigi's Mansion, and And it's like, I don't know, everything about it is just absolutely charming. The sound, all the sounds, all the different sounds, you know, walking around the mansion and, you know, the footsteps and the creaking and just exploring and everything. It's like, it's so perfect for, you know, for this time of year. And I'm glad I'm saving it for now. And I'm not sure, like, if I don't finish it before Halloween, like, I don't know if I'm going to want to finish it. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it off for a year until next year. I don't know. Well,
you can jump back into Luigi's Mansion though after a year off, which is rare these days. Now real quick, are you playing the original or are you playing Dark Moon on the 3DS?
Dark Moon on 3DS.
Okay.
Yeah.
In either game, though, my favorite part when you were talking about the noises and stuff is the fact that Luigi hums to the main theme in the background.
Yes, I know.
That is the best touch.
It's holy crap! It's so good. I love it. His like little quirkiness, the little things that he does. It's so good. It's so amazing. I love it. It's so like, I don't know, it's comforting. It's like, you know, nice to sit down and relax to and just take in and enjoy and, you know, just play it. And it's well put together. There's no, you know, you don't have any big problems. It's just a good game. So if you got a 3DS, you never play, I know Vegas, I was playing Destiny with Vegas the other day, and he said that he picked it up. He picked up Luigi's Mansion on me talking about it last week. So, you know, he's enjoying it too. He's having fun and I'm having fun. And it's just one of those games. If you're looking for a Halloween, you know, theme game and you got a 3DS and you haven't played it, it's $20. So go check it out.
Yeah, it's part of that specials deal, which really pissed me off because it like dropped in price like a month after I bought it. But I did play through it last year, and it's a great game. And I'm really hoping, I don't know, I'm really hesitant to say that Nintendo's going to actually do any sort of virtual console on the Switch. If anything, I think their recent behavior is leading me to believe that's not going to happen, but I guess we'll see. But if they decide to put GameCube games on the Switch,
oh man,
the original Luigi's Mansion should be like a day one no-brainer port. And if they sell those suckers for like $10-15 a piece, I mean, yeah.
Yep. So that's me. That's me with the game. That's all I got. I mean, it's nothing else. Nothing else crazy with Halloween games for me. Like, you know, stuff. I always want to try and play like theme stuff, you know, around this time, around all holidays, but it's the whole time thing. It always gets me, and I can't dedicate as much time into it as I want to. If I had to pick something else, I know last year around this time, I was playing Animal Crossing on the 3DS, and Animal Crossing has a special thing surrounding all the holidays. So there's like a little event that you could go to during Halloween and everything, and it brings in everything with, you know, what's going on. So it's one of those games one of those things that I wish, you know, a lot of other games did, like, you know, made it special themed, like around what's going on in the real world and everything. But yeah, so that's my thing. I don't know. Should we go? Everybody did their games, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to cut. I was really quiet. I had to cut out. My kid woke up and I had to go see what's going on. But.
Yeah, sorry if I rambled a little bit there. I was like trying to buy time because I didn't know what was going on. But yeah,
the kid sends the spooky games.
Yeah, I know.
Wake you from your sleep.
I'm still trying to forget about the whole conversation you guys had before.
Mario.
All right. All right. So you want to jump into something else? What do we have left? Weeks? Like, what's going on? How's things been going? Do you want to get into that, or do you want to just
do weeks, or we could do one movie?
Oh, movies.
Cap it at a minute.
Movies. That's right. All right. So, movies. Hocus Pocus is a must every year.
Nice.
That is our Halloween night movie that we watch. So Hocus Pocus is that one. I love watching Addams Family and Beetlejuice, like you said before. There's a lot of staples, and I've never watched Halloween Town. Is Halloween Town something that you guys have seen?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Halloween Town was like, I always hear so many good things about it. Like, I always hear it's one of those must-watch movies during Halloween. I've never seen it, and we've come close to buying it a few times already, but we haven't pulled the trigger yet. But
it's like a Disney original.
I think it is Disney. I think it is Disney, but I don't know if it's like old school. I think it's from like the early 2000s, maybe something like that. But that's still like 10 years ago. That's terrible. So
1998. Actually, it's a little older than that.
There you go, 98.
Yeah, so about 20 years.
There you go.
It's got Debbie Reynolds in it. Oh, why have I not seen this?
Yeah. So yeah, I hear that's one of those must-watch movies.
I've seen it. Not must-watch.
No?
No. I mean, the kids might like it. The kids might enjoy it.
It seems like Los's speed, though.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Just living that Disney TV movie lifestyle.
Yes. Yep, give it to me hard and fast all the time.
Oh, what are we still talking about here?
All right, so What We Do in the Shadows. That's mine.
Nice.
It's got Jermaine Clement. Mrs. McWhiskey's got to give me shit about this. I always say it wrong. It's Jermaine Clement because she says I say it like the Key and Peele sketch, like, that Jermaine Clement? Have you seen that Jermaine Clement? Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. He's in that. It's like a mockumentary about vampires. If you haven't seen it, it's a great Halloween movie. It has the vampires and werewolves and is just hilarious, but also the appropriate amount of spooky. Like, it really balances spookiness with funny. And that's what I really appreciate. I actually watched it this past weekend because, we got to make sure we get it in before the holiday, just in case something comes up. And then we watched Addams Family as well. So, but yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, that is number one on my Halloween viewing list. Mr. Rojas, what's yours?
Oh, real quick, Jermaine Clement also plays the crab from Moana that does the shiny song. Fantastic song. But mine is actually a new movie I saw just a couple days ago. It's on Netflix, so it's free. Any of you out there who have Netflix, you can watch this. And it's more of a comedy, but it is perfect for this year. It just came out. It's called The Babysitter. Have either of you heard of this?
I saw it on Netflix. Like, I didn't watch it, but I know it's there.
Watch this. This is a hard R film, where this nerdy kid who's like 12 years old, maybe he's younger than that, has this super hot blonde babysitter, and his parents go out of town all the time, and she like watches him for the weekend, and he's curious as to what she does when he goes to bed, because he always like falls asleep right away. And so one night he decides to stay up and he finds out what she's doing. And what follows is a hilarious, horrific, fucked up circumstance that continues to surprise you until the very end, is all I can say. And just when you think they've jumped the shark, you ain't seen nothing yet. I wouldn't really say it's a horror movie other than the vibe of it. It is first and foremost a comedy. But it is just an absurd and wonderful 90-minute movie. Definitely not for kids, though. It is jarringly offensive, but and there is some violence, but not like, it's more comedic violence, I guess is what I would say. So, for those of you who are a little on the squeamish side, but you should definitely see this. And the reason I saw it was because Mick G is the director, and Mick G was responsible for one of my favorite TV shows of all time, The OC, Don't Judge. And I watched this, and I was extremely pleased I did. And I can't tell enough people, if you have Netflix, you need to go watch The Babysitter as soon as possible.
Interesting. Yeah, because Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 43%, but the audience score is a 64, and then Google has it at an 88. So
as you climb down the pretension ladder, you slowly get more tolerant of it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's definitely a see for yourself and then judge.
Yeah, I think people go into it wanting a horror movie or something like that. What this movie really does is it makes complete fun of the 80s horror films. Mm-hmm. This is an 80s date film, but like made into a comedy. But anyway, hope I didn't oversell it. But yeah, I think it's really good. But yeah, you're making me look at this, Beardy. Just skimming through the reviews and stuff. It's great. Because you can just see as each writer's like, oh, well, I'm going to tell you how terrible this film is, but people who watch movies don't know a fucking thing about what's real art and mastery, so of course you're going to like it, and fuck everybody, and you guys are all terrible, and, but yeah. I really dug it. I thought it was great, and everybody I've recommended to see it was like, thank you for recommending it. So hopefully you'll have some fun with it if it's your speed.
Excellent.
I think I could talk the wife into that one. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the absurdity alone is kind of where I promise you will never guess where that movie ends.
Speaking of streaming, we watched, if you don't have it, if you want to watch it before Halloween, The Monster Squad is on Hulu.
Ooh.
And we watched it the other night. It was my pick, my Halloween pick, my movie we've been trying to watch a few movies here and there with the family. And that was mine. And I think that's going to be my last pick. My wife is probably going to take away my privileges for picking.
That movie is fantastic. It's Fred Decker.
I know.
Director of RoboCop 3. Like, if that doesn't entice you right there, I don't know what does.
I had plenty of fond memories of The Monster Squad, but my wife, she says she never watched it in its entirety, and probably within the first 15 minutes, she had already decided that she was over it. She was like, nope, I'm not.
Well,
no.
Fun fact, Los, I went to the Alamo Drafthouse viewing of this last month. It's the 30th anniversary. I got to meet Sean, Phoebe, and Rudy. I have a signed poster right here that they gave us for going. I have a picture of myself having gone to it. And fun fact, the co-writer of that movie, if you didn't notice this while watching it, the co-writer of that movie would go on to write a movie called Lethal Weapon. And believe it or not, the two detectives in that are early versions of Riggs and Murtaugh. You'll see a whole new side of this movie once you know that. And never forget that Wolfman's got nards.
Yes. Yep, that's the one thing you take away from the entire movie, I think.
Yes, Wolfman's got nards.
I'm getting too old for this business.
Yep. Oh no, it's great because the who's who? I never remember. Who's Murtaugh? Is that Danny Glover? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the Danny Glover character in The Monster Squad is actually pretty good. He is such a smart talking. He's great. They basically, for Lethal Weapon, made Murtaugh more tight and Riggs more laid back because the Mel Gibson character, the Riggs character in Monster Squad, is the most strung out cop you've ever seen, who's clearly willing to sacrifice his livelihood, his marriage, and pretty much everything that makes him whole for his job.
Now, are we talking the same Monster Squad?
We have to be with all the kids. The Goonies only against the Universal monsters?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. The two cops. You know the two cops. Dell is the dad. Sean's dad. And then his partner. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm fine. I remember it now. Okay. I may be out of it a little bit. Sorry.
No, sorry. I went deep with that. You weren't expecting that. I understand.
Yeah, because you were referring to Lethal Weapon. I was like, trying to remember where they were, like, the characters you're talking about, and I forgot about the dad and the partner.
They are back characters. They're not main characters. But it's just funny because the two people who wrote that movie, one would go on to do RoboCop 3 and then go into obscurity. The other one would go on to make the Lethal Weapon franchise and probably hired Fred Decker, who did RoboCop 3, to be his lawn boy or something. But anyway, you know, shit happens. It's Hollywood.
All right, so let me see what else was going on. Monster House is another one we watched. Just throwing it out there. I don't know if you guys have seen Monster House. That's a animated movie.
Too many times.
Yeah.
That was on repeat when I worked at Sam's Club back in the mid 2000s, and it played nonstop from August through like November, and like it was my job, because I worked in the electronics department, to make sure the movie was always playing. That movie was Monster House. So it's one of those like really weird, messed up things where I have seen that movie probably literally 100 times, but never all the way through in order.
Oh man!
So these fragmented scenes of that movie, and the first couple times, like, oh, that's cute, it's fun. You know, I'm getting ready for Halloween, like, and come November, like, can I please pick a different movie? Can we do the Twister thing again, showing the sound systems? Because this is freaking driving me nuts.
Hotel Transylvania 2, put it up. Let's do it. Okay,
Yes.
I'm in.
Literally anything.
Oh yeah. Well, do you have a daughter who's really into Monster High? Because you might eat those words.
Okay, literally anything else.
Yeah. Because let me tell you all about Draculaura and all of her clever little pun-named friends. Yeah.
All right. So where we're at? Where are we done?
Well, real quick, one other I want to throw out. I kind of talked about it, but Disney's Halloween Treat. Have you guys ever seen this?
No. What is it?
Okay, you definitely need to see it. It is available, like, legitimate and legally on Amazon, but it's also, you can nefariously find it on YouTube by just Googling Disney's Halloween Treat.
Is this the shorts?
Yes, it's 90 minutes, and it's a clip show from various Halloween themed stuff in the Disney pantheon, and also just Halloween themed cartoons that they've done with like Donald and Mickey, like in the past. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's just a great collection of stuff. It's great for the kids. I recommend going and checking it out if you can. It's roughly 90 minutes long. So if you're looking for the right one, that's the one. But yeah, it's really good, and I highly recommend it. I watched it as a kid growing up because it was like a special in like I think the late 80s, maybe the mid 80s, and I've never been able to. They never released on DVD or anything, but I have an old VHS tape that I ripped to DVD. But if you need to find it, I found it on YouTube quite easily just now. So, but it's cool. It's well worth seeing.
Hey, what was it called?
Disney's Halloween Treat.
Yeah, just in Google alone. If you just Google it, it's right there.
Yeah, you'll know it because it has a fun little Disney's Halloween Treat song at the beginning, and they're all actual footage clips from the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney Orlando. So, nice. Los, you'll be able to recognize it pretty quick.
I'm sure I will.
But it's great. I think it might even have the Ichabod Crane Headless Horseman thing, which is probably the scariest thing on there. The rest of it's pretty tame shit. So, but it's cool. It's a great clip of Disney's Halloween Best. So,
nice. I'll go ahead. I'll put that in the show notes with a few other things we talked about.
Cool.
All right. So we are talking. Are we talking anymore? Are we done? What are we doing?
We could be done.
Yeah, I guess we could be done. I mean, I'll go. Fred, do you have anything else you want to top off before? Because I guess we end it with Beardy and his little story that he has.
Yeah, we could do that.
So
cool.
So Fred, is there any other stories, Halloween themed, whatever do you want to throw out there or whatever?
Man, I'd like to say, like, I just love Halloween. My wife and I are doing a horror movie every night all the way up to Halloween. So It's just my favorite time of the year and things like that. But yeah, I could go on forever. One thing I will say is if you want to go over to Gaming History 101, we have done a ton of Halloween episodes, horror episodes, obscure horror game episodes, and we even have a post if you just search Halloween that like puts them all together on one post. So you can pick like, do you want to watch a video of stuff? Do you want to do various things of that nature? But no, other than that, it's just my favorite holiday.
Sweet.
Go enjoy it.
Yes. And hook me up with whatever links you want to share, and we'll put it in the show notes so you could have it all ready to go in there.
Sure. In fact, I'll just give you a link to that big post I talked about. But with that, I'll bow out. Word.
So just to set up Beardy, you reminded me. I was telling the wife about what you had said, and she reminded me that our youngest had also had a little thing going on as well. A few years ago. He was probably about 2, maybe like just learning to talk, and we were at her mother's house, my mother-in-law's house, and it was dark. We were getting ready for bed. We were watching TV, and it was, we were all on the couch. It was dark and everything. And Lucas was just, doing the kid thing, and he just like stops and he runs to my wife and buries his head like in her neck, like not wanting to look anywhere. And she's like, what's going on? What happened? And he's like pointing to the dark corner of the room. And
no.
And he's the way he's describing what's going on. It was my wife automatically, like, first thought was her grandmother who had passed a few years before. So yeah, kids are great. They're awesome. So Beardy, go.
You have to flesh in the details on that.
Well, no, there was no other details. After that happened, I went to the car and I slept in the car. And I couldn't tell you.
It's what I do.
Couldn't tell you anything else after that point. I mean, I kind of blacked out, but it was creepy, and it's.
So he saw someone or something in the corner.
Yeah.
And was describing the grandmother.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's, from what I remember, he wasn't really like describing in detail, but it was, I'm pretty sure he said like her name and everything. And he wasn't really that familiar with her in the first place. So, but
have you ever seen the movie The Babadook?
No, don't. No. Okay.
It follows this premise pretty much to a T.
Yeah, but that was like his only that was like the only time that really happened and all that. So, it's something that, happened, and I try to forget, but the wife reminded me. So
thank you for that.
So what happened with me was, it was Sunday morning, and I was just playing on the floor with Lily, and we're just playing with her little figurines, the little people, if you're familiar, the poor man's Legos.
Mm-hmm.
And she says to me, when Aunt Shishi had chickenpox, she had to use oven mitts, and you had to take an oatmeal bath. And I thought for a minute, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a really actually old memory of mine. I know I had never brought it up to her. And so I asked, oh, who told you that? And she said, no one. I remember it. And so Lily's 3.5, but is very articulate for her age. And it's not like she speaks in half sentences. Like, when she says something, like, she says it with purpose. Like, all right, well, I asked her directly, well, did Nana tell you that? Which is what she calls my mom. Because the only people that would have knowledge of this would be myself, my dad, my mom, my sister, because it's such an innocuous detail that no one would ever bring it up regardless. I mean, I hardly remembered it until she brought it up. And she goes, no, I remember it. And she knows the difference between I remember versus someone else told me.
Mm-hmm.
And she would tell us that. And in a lot of ways, she's like Will Ferrell and Austin Powers. If you ask her something 3 times in a row, if she is not telling the truth, she will tell the truth on the 3rd time. So I asked her, a couple more times, did Nana tell you this? She's like, no, I remember it. So I texted my mom, like, hey, Lily's telling me she remembers this. What's your take? And my mom said, no, we never talked about it. I didn't know she knew what chickenpox even were. And that was my feeling too, because we're of the ilk where we vaccinate our kids. We don't want them to know what these diseases are. And she's had her vaccines. There'd be
I don't
no
know.
reason.
I think you should let the dice roll and just let the chips fall where they may. I don't know.
Like, all right, well, she doesn't know what it is. So why would I even bring it up? And then so I asked my wife, did you ever tell her this? No. I said, again, where did you hear this? Like, I remember it. And that has been her line. My mom said, no, we never talked about it. My mom asked my dad, did you tell her this by any chance? No. Asked my wife, did I ever bring this up to you? No. There's no reason she would have even known, because it's such a small little detail that when me and my sister, who is Aunt Chi-Chi in this story, had chicken pox when we were little, I took an oatmeal bath, and my sister had chicken pox so bad that she wore oven mitts. Like, this is a weird detail. And all no. And it's like, all right, so that's just weird, and that's what it is. And then comes out that later it was actually my great-grandmother's birthday, who I knew quite well growing up because she was still around then, and both my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my sister, and my mom have a long history of having very vivid, accurate dreams. And so this a little bit freaked out at this point. My daughter might be a witch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I am the skeptic. So I'm thinking, there more likely than not, I told her this and forgot.
That's exactly the story I would have talked myself into.
Yeah, like, I probably told her. It came up at some point. She saw chickenpox on one of her YouTube movies that she watches or something, and I told her and forgot about it. And that's the story I'm going to tell myself so I can sleep. But at the same time, it's Halloween. It was the same day of my great-grandma's birthday, who has a long history of... And I can do the research. I don't remember a lot of it, but my mom and my sister know more. That, lots of very vivid dreams come from the female side of my family.
Mm.
And so that's where I'm at now. I'm just living in constant terror. Because there's no other explanation. It's either someone told her and forgot, but I don't know why you would... It's like the rational and irrational side of my brain right now are just playing against each other. Like, but of course, someone must have told her.
Yep.
But then irrational side's like, but why? And rational side's like, I don't know, but shut up, irrational brain. I'm trying to go to bed right now. We got work in the morning. It's like, all right, we'll see you in a couple few, irrational brain. Yeah, so just very spooked out by that with the accurate description of, no, I remember it. And just so insistent. Like, why are you so insistent? Like, oh, I heard that, or I know that. No, I remember it.
Also, for the record, this is something that's only scary to parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
But very scary to parents. Justifiably so.
I think because you have to live with them. If some like crazy homeless guy, I was walking down the street, was like, I remember one time you had to use an oatmeal bathroom, you had the chicken pox. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty common thing, homeless guy. Thanks for yelling at me. Here's $1. Go get yourself checked in the rehab. You gotta do your life better than this. But it's like someone you're trapped with. I can't be like, all right, well, Lily, here's the outside world. You're their problem now.
Oh, you don't say that? Oh, I guess we parent differently.
Dad, I want to come back in. Not stop being so creepy. Make better life choices.
Actually, the stupidest thing I ever did in my entire life was, and I've done a lot of stupid things, but was when Autumn was like 2. She was just playing in her room. She loved playing in her room, and like I had the walkie-talkie, the baby monitor that you can talk through, and I got on it and I started breathing heavy. I was like, Autumn. And all of a sudden, she was pale as a ghost, came running through our room. And my wife looks at me and goes, "Oh, fuck you. She's never going to sleep in her room again." And that was 6 weeks of my wife just going, "Nope, get in there, sleep with her. That's it. Nope, man. This is all you. This is all you.
You did this. You made the mess. Clean it up."
Yeah, I you know what? And there's still a small part of me that was like, it was so worth it.
It's hard to pass up. You see them in there, and they look so peaceful, and they mess up your world so often. It's like, why don't I pay it forward?
Just one chance to retaliate. And again, to be clear, she was not in bed. I'm not a total monster, but it was after dark. But she was just playing in her room, not hurting anybody, probably with something cuddly. And I couldn't help myself.
They're so peaceful, but they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's Daddy's time to sleep.
Oh, see, you're not there yet. Mine sleeps in
No, ours. The youngest sun comes up, peeks through the clouds, and it is time to be awake.
Oh man, my daughter's in bed by like 8 and doesn't get up till about 8:30 in the morning, sometimes 9.
Jesus, no.
Yeah. Mine didn't sleep for 8 through the night for the first 18 months of her life though. So we definitely paid early on for that one. She only slept in 3-hour intervals the first 18 months of her life. So, yeah.
Yeah, so now she doesn't sleep and she sees ghosts that tell her weird, intimate details.
Yeah, there's only one thing left to do is you've got to put like a live animal in her closet or something before she goes to bed and just see how that plays out.
Yeah. She's got to wake up tomorrow like, you peed the bed till you're 8. I'm like, who told you that? Damn it, Nana.
Well, no, that's when you really start calling an exorcist or something. You guys ever seen Paranormal Activity?
Nope.
No, of course not.
Oh, you seriously haven't?
No.
We saw
there is
we realized that we like sleeping.
There is a sequence in that film that still fucks with me. Jesus Christ. Oh,
and that's why I haven't watched it.
You will not feel safe in your own house.
Yep.
You should see it right away. Just
no, it's okay.
I gotta say, you have a weird way of selling games and movies there, Fred.
Well, you gotta really enjoy being scared, like I am. But there was this brief moment after, and you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? So like I'd already seen it, and it already affected me. And then there was this point at about 3 a.m. that morning where I was like, okay, this was a fun ride, but I'm ready to get off now. I'm ready to stop being worried about this. It didn't help. But yeah, that is a movie I can't just watch on a whim. I got to prep myself for it because I do know there will be at least mild uneasiness and then maybe some sleeplessness. And yet I am still drawn to watch stuff like that.
No, and I will do psychologically scary, like Saw. The first Saw movie, I would recommend that movie. It's very entertaining. It's psychological, gets in your head, but at the same time, it's kind of worth the ride. But other movies like that, where it's just in your head for the sake of being in your head, and you're like, ooh, I enjoyed that ride. Because I like roller coasters for the same thing. It's like, ooh, I'm kind of afraid, but it's fun. We're having a good time. If you take away that good time, it's just I'm blacking out. I can't see my eyes. This is the scariest thrill coaster I've ever been on. Why did they dump the lava on me? No, I'm not going to go on the lava ride.
Oh, so you don't ride the Demon at Great America, do you?
Oh, all of the Great America. There's nothing great about Great America rides. It's just, hey, you want a headache for a week? Go to Great America. Ride the Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
The Giant Eagle
backwards.
Yeah. Oh, that's what messed me up the last time. So we're going to talk a little Chicago inside baseball. We did the Giant Eagle backwards, thinking like, oh, this will be a fun thing. I was still in like my mid to early 20s. Went on that thing. Week and a half of neck ache and headache after that because you can't see when the turns are coming, so it just snaps your spine in two.
I went on the Shockwave, which was our 12 loop-de-loop roller coaster at Great America, and it was the rockiest ride. I think they've disassembled it. I think Superman took it over. But I had semi-new ear piercings at the time. I was like 13 years old, and I had 2 little studs. And my ear was plastered to my neck with the earring holding everything into place when I got off that. That hurt a lot, prying my ear out of my neck with the earring as a bolt. Yeah. So, Los, if you're ever in Chicago.
Yeah, I'll take you to Gurney and the Gurney Mills.
Yeah, let me tell you about me. I used to do roller coasters and all that. I was all over it. I loved it. And here at Universal Studios, they have the Hulk. I used to ride the Hulk. It was like one of my favorites. And Dueling Dragons as well. It was forget about it. I loved it. One day we were at the wife when she was in college here in UCF. There was like a little carnival kind of thing. So we had a whole night planned. We were going to do dinner. We're going to do a movie. We're going to go to the carnival thing first and all that and everything. And we went on some ride there. It was like one of those turning rides. It turns you around in
like
a circle.
Teacups.
Yeah. But it's a teacup, but it's also doing little rotations and a huge rotate. I'm making the, motion with my hand, like you could see. So, I got on that and I was done. I had to go home. I couldn't do anything. I was sick. For days. I couldn't do it. And ever since then I was done. I couldn't do roller coasters anymore. And I just felt old. And I just had no fun anymore with coasters or anything. So
I can't wait till I'm at that point.
All right.
All right. So, ready to have me take us on out here?
Yes, let's do it. You want to let Fred take a stab or
hey, Los, this ain't my first rodeo. I know how to be a good host. He came in a nice beverage and a hot meal. And on his way out, Fred, pimp your stuff.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Oh, and thank you for this hot towel on my way out. Yes. You guys pimp it way too much anyway, so I thank you for that. But GamingHistory101.com. We're bi-weekly these days. Every other week we do a different show. We either do Gaming History 101, which is on retro topics, or we do Gaming History X with Mr. Trees, where we talk about modern news topics. You can check it all out at GamingHistory101.com. Thanks.
Excellent. All right, so we are on Twitter and Instagram, and if you'd like to join our chat, just hit the link in the show notes to join our Discord. Rate and review us on iTunes. It helps us spread the monkeypox. And if you like it, just tell a friend. Leave us comments or questions at futuremonkeyscast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 407-906-EASY-FM. That is 407-906-3936. Spooky Toodle Pip?
Yes, have a good night. A Toodle Pip.
I really want to see a Dracula movie now where he says that. Toodle Pip.
Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?
It's now the mash.
It's now the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
And it's a graveyard smash.
It's now the mash.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mash.
It's now the Monster Mash. Now everything's cool. Drax a part of the band. And my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them what is said.
Then you can mash.
Then you can Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
And do my graveyard
Then you
smash.
can mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Oh, by the way, guys, while we were talking about this, so my wife texted me and she goes, Autumn just came to me in her sleep, I think. She opened our master bedroom door, then stood there, then without saying a word, turned around and went back into her room, opened her closet, and tried to go in there. I stopped her and asked, what are you doing? She went to her bed. The moment she got in her bed, she freaked out, jumped up, pointed to the closet door, and started yelling, behind you. Uh-huh.
Nope.
I checked the closet. Nobody was in there. Then I laid in the bed with her asking her what she was talking about. She just yawned, mumbled something about tornadoes, and passed out.
Oh my god.
I hung out in there for a couple of minutes, but man, that was a creepy couple of minutes.
Nope. No thanks. Lights would have been on. TV would have been on Disney Channel. I would have been.
I think my wife's still upstairs. She likes to fall asleep watching Futurama, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what she was doing. But
Yep.
wow,
no
it's the night
thanks.
for it, huh?
Yeah. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, my kid does that. He just stands there, and waits for me to wake up.
Oh
so I can
yeah,
take him
then if
back to
that
bed.
freaks you out, definitely don't watch Paranormal Activity
Yeah.
because it's totally what happens in half of that film.
But yeah, the whole closet thing. Nope, not that. You could keep that right there.
I believe in the closet monster. So yeah.
Yeah, the whole portal thing. There's theories about that with that and Bigfoot.
Okay, you lost me with Bigfoot. Bigfoot comes through your closet?
Through portals. A lot of the Bigfoot conspiracy theorists say that he just pops in and out because of portals.
Oh, okay.
Like with a portal gun.
That's why.
Or is it like?
No, well, I don't know that much about it, Lowe's. I mean, I don't know if Bigfoot's got a gun or not. I think he is autonomous enough that he probably could work a portal gun, but just random.
He is the missing link.
There's
after all.
that Bigfoot's like an alien and just popping in and out of our universe. Interesting stuff. A good podcast that gets into half of that is the Boogie Monster, because it's got Kyle Kinane, who is a Chicago-based comedian, and they go into conspiracy theories.
I remember when you told me to watch the Bat Kid episode or whatever. Yeah.
The Chicago Mothman.
The Chicago Mothman. Yeah, I watched that, or I listened to that one.
Yeah, that is correct. Like, the Chicago Mothman. Like the perfect Chicago
the way he
accent.
talks, yeah, sounds like every cab driver I've ever had. But